Amazing. Michael, like your business is pretty new, and you acquired all these customers, and you have a very thoughtful process for acquiring more new customers. Definitely what you're doing with your email marketing, influencer marketing, and other channels that you're planning to explore. Uh, how do you, what is your ambition for this business? How big do you want to see your business going to be? I mean, like in the next 5 years, what's your vision for the business?
Yeah, it's a good question. I always think about that all the time because we haven't really raised any outside capital, and one of the things about raising outside capital is you always kind of think about how big do you want to grow this, right? Because as soon as you start taking money from investors at a substantial amount, like you're almost you really have to reach a certain scale so your investors so your investors can essentially see their coupon. So for us, I mean, I think initially we just really want to create a brand that people knew about and they can have access to clean wine, right? So I wouldn't necessarily put a number to it where we want to be I don't think this would ever be $1 billion brand. I think it could be in the hundreds of millions, but that's not necessarily how we want to get there. For us, we just want to establish we're starting in California, and we're really just establishing almost like a movement here and just slowly building that case study in different cities. Really, again, like building that brand equity. If I were to say like, where do we want to be? If you were to tell me, I would say I just would want to be a very well-known brand in the state of California. And if we end up becoming a very well-known brand in the other 49 states, then so be it. But for us, it's really just providing access to people who are looking for wines that don't give them headaches and don't have all that different types of pesticides that we don't really think about. But at the end of the day, when you walk into any grocery store, you guys are looking for that organic product, but it's not. We've never been trained to think about that whenever we walk into, the wine aisle, right? We're always picking a wine depending on the vintage and varietal, and we're trying to train, educate people that there's way more to purchasing wine than just that. There's a lot of other stuff that go into the winemaking process that we should all know about. So for us, it's just scaling or educating the consumers as much as we can to make sure that people are happy customers at the end of the day, and they're putting good stuff inside of their body, just like they would with, anything else that they'll pick up at a Whole Foods.
Well, I'm going to try your wine, Michael, because I'm a wine snob, and I just lost my entire cellar just melted to the ground. So I'm starting fresh. Bottle one.
I was just in Lake Tahoe like last week, and the fires were crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
But I must say, Michael, you got a clear focus there to become a king in California, and then maybe let the destiny take its chart. I mean, I think that's a great strategy, I believe, because I think once you nailed California as a state, I think it will be pretty easy to kind of go to other states and acquire customers there. And ultimately, I think the news travels fast. So I believe that's a great focus, and I think that's a good vision, I believe, that you with clarity what you want to do in the next couple of years. That's amazing.
It's also a massive state too, where it's like you could just focus on a few cities that have millions of people in it versus once you want to scale outside, it becomes so much more expensive and hard to manage, right? So sometimes like you can have the best product in the world, but if you're not able to manage it and you're not able to scale properly, you could really collapse the business over years of time.
Correct. I think keeping the customer acquisition cost as much as possible, I mean, I think in the initial stages, the customer acquisition cost can be on the higher side, but I think over a period of time, it should go down as much as possible with all the marketing strategies that one can put in place.